Hello, I'm Sarah and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you about my time in Copenhagen, some of my favorite things that I did there that I definitely think you should check out, and just overall why I loved my time in this capital city of Denmark. All right, one of my favorite things and one of the first things that I did in Denmark was explore by boat. Now, we put our stuff down in the hotel, and my friend and I, and we started walking around. We stumbled across Go Boat, which basically rents out what I would equate to like a golf cart, but in boat form. This boat did not pick up speed. This boat stayed very slow. And I did have to navigate, I would say like a waterway highway in order to get to the smaller canals, which it worked out fine, but there's some big ferries and boats on this particular waterway. Either way, it was great. Loved the experience. If that doesn't sound fun to you, do a boat tour, but definitely experience Copenhagen from the water. Another thing that I loved here, which is going to sound weird that I'm even bringing it up probably, but I loved breakfast in Copenhagen. Now, I don't know, it was the style of breakfast. I think it was just the way they kind of had like these 5 options and you choose one from each category, and it was so cute. Presentation 10 of 10, but the freshness of the food in Copenhagen, it's just like it blows our farm to table out of the water. Like farm to table, nothing. The food is just so fresh and delicious. Honestly, I don't think I had fresher food anywhere in Europe than I've had in Copenhagen. Now, I have not really been to much of Scandinavia, so maybe it's a Scandinavian thing, I don't know, but Copenhagen had the freshest food I've ever had. It is just incredibly delicious. If you are a breakfast person, check it out. Maybe you'll love it, maybe you won't, I don't know, but I loved it. Another thing you should do when you're in Copenhagen is explore by bicycle. They are such a bike-friendly city, so if you know how to ride a bike, get on a bike, do a little bit of exploring. We did actually end up in rush hour, not probably the best idea, but nobody was mean to us, honking at us. They were flying by us because they were much faster riders, but they were never mean about it or impatient with us, which I really appreciate. But we also did hit some of the various tourist spots, including like the Little Mermaid, and I can tell you right now, she will not amaze you with her grandeur, but she is cute, so ride on by her and check her out. We hit a few other spots on a bike, very bike friendly. I mean, even the bike lanes have turning lanes for the bike, and the stairs had ramps for the bikes. Like, it is very bike friendly. Get on a bike. Another thing that I really loved about Copenhagen was their changing of the guards. Now, I have done it in London, and London has just absolute hordes and hordes of people, and it's great. Check it off your list at least once. But in Copenhagen, we were there end of September, early October, and probably there's more people in their high season, but when we were there was hardly anyone, and we could practically stalk them around the square that we were in, which, by the way, the square is beautiful and worth seeing anyways. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out the changing of the guards. The Design Museum made a bunch of lists and recommendations. I very much enjoyed the Design Museum, and I would say I'm not like a super museum type girl. Like I can do a museum, but it's not, you know, top of my list of things that I look for to do in a city, but I very much enjoyed it. We did, however, my fault, walk into the wrong museum first. We ended up in this medical museum, and we'd already paid, and I felt bad, and I didn't want to ask for a refund. It was so not the Design Museum, but honestly, it gave the impression when you first walked in. So I do feel somewhat justified. I also laughed so hard at myself, like I was crying. I got a good laugh out of the whole situation, but either way, I recommend the Design Museum. If you like medicine, the medical museum that we accidentally walked into was also great. Make sure you pick the correct one. Don't do what I did. Walk or shop along, and I'm not gonna say it because guys, I did try to practice, and I can tell you I did not get a passing grade. I'm not gonna say it because she said something about like using the back of your throat, and I was like, I don't know. I'll put it on the screen. Very cute street. I actually remember passing a Lego store, and I thought it seemed so out of place, the Lego store, but then I found out that Legos were made in Denmark. So not out of place, made a lot more sense. Should have walked in there, didn't. So maybe checked out the Lego store. And then we went over, kind of kept walking and ended up going up this round tower, which gave great views of Copenhagen. And then we also stopped at this organic hot dog stand because before I left for Copenhagen, I saw the Somebody Feed Phil show on Netflix, the episode on Copenhagen. So I think we hit most of the restaurant recommendations from the show. And one of them was this organic hot dog stand. And you guys, even the hot dogs are fresh. Absolutely delicious. I definitely recommend it. That street is very cute. It had really cute squares as well and like fountains, and it's just worth a stroll. Another thing that I enjoyed was visiting Christiana. Now, if you don't know, quick history on Christiana, I think it was a military base once upon a time, and then it was taken over, and it just had no laws. Like when it started, it was completely lawless. Spoiler alert, they now have some laws, because can you really be lawless? I don't think so. Visiting there, if anything, will show you whether or not that lawless life is for you, and I can tell you, from what I can see, it's not for me. But it's an interesting place to check out for a couple of hours. I don't think you're gonna wanna spend excessive amounts of time there, but definitely check it out for a couple hours. So many good food halls in Copenhagen, and one was, I really loved the seafood place that we went to that was recommended on the Somebody Feed Phil show. That was delicious. Honestly, guys, we had greasy burgers, never felt sick afterward. We had, I mean, the hot dogs, like tacos, you name it. We just never felt gross. Like when I tell you the food is fresh, I'm gonna say it again. The freshest food I've ever had. Like it is so delicious. It's just the quality. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it ain't cheap, but it's fresh. So what I loved about Copenhagen, one, the food is fresh. You already know, I've mentioned it so many times. I love how they get around on bikes and how bike friendly it is. And then the third thing that I haven't mentioned is the people are just not snobby whatsoever. Like I did not encounter a single snobbish person in Copenhagen. I will say they're not necessarily gonna start chatting you up, but if you do talk to them, they are so kind. Even when I walked into like this bougie spa place, the girl was just not snobby whatsoever. And I can tell you in the States, that would not be the case. There would be a much greater chance, but I did not experience that at all in Copenhagen. Like nobody, not an ounce. Nobody on the bikes as they were passing us were mad at us. Like in general, I was just so impressed. Like I said, I think they are kind of more shy into themselves, but you can talk to them and they are so kind, friendly. They will chat with you, and yeah, like I said, no snobbery, and I was so impressed by that. So loved you Danish people, really made a good impression. Well, that is it for this video. If you found it helpful, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy travels. Bye. Copenhagen. And if nothing, even, I don't know.